Are we live? Oh, it says I'm live. Oh, yeah. Alrighty. Alrighty. Let's see how long it takes. It has been 4 days ish. Because I streamed on Saturday. So no streaming on Sunday. And no streaming on Monday. And now it's Tuesday. So really 3 days. 3 days. 3 days gone. Welcome. Hello. Thanks for the thumbs up. And glad you're here. Hello. Looks like maybe a notification actually happened, which is kind. Let's make sure that none of these little pop-ups affect anything. Well, thank you for the thumbs up, number 2. Appreciate you. All right. So here's the deal. Well, it's not really the deal. Is this going to hurt? Let's see. Only a little bit. I hurt my back pretty bad. Pretty bad. I'm pretty sure it's disc related. And that was one of the things that happened the day before my birthday. Yeehaw! Load anything. It's crashed twice today. I listened to a couple of videos on YouTube today. Anyway, I hurt my back on, which was probably good for it, more than likely. And then on Monday, which was my birthday yesterday, I walked again some, probably only about half a mile. Did heating packs, did stretches, I did cold packs, or whatever. And then I sat down in the massage chair today, trepidatiously. That's not a word. With trepidation, and it didn't paralyze me, which is a good thing. And really, it didn't help all that much, because that's I don't know. It really didn't help all that much. What helped the most, actually, was on my lunch break when I walked for about 40 minutes. I got sweaty as all get out. Man, it was like, it says 92 degrees right now. So, 4.5 hours ago, 5 hours ago, about 5 hours ago, I don't think that it was, it definitely wasn't cooler. It's 92 right now. It had to have been like 95, 94, 95. Anyway, it was hot. Yay, Goose Bear, what's going on? Hey, Goose Bear, I know you were at Ash All Day channels today. Whatever. Woo, thank you, Railroad. See, every little bump I can feel in the bottom of my back. It's an unpleasant feeling. Unpleasant. So initially, when it first happened, if I had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it an 8 or a 9. Which basically I think tier the pain scale and no tearing up at all. But I'm talking about that, like, grit your teeth, take your breath away. I get that, like, once it starts taking your breath away, the pain, it's hard to breathe. That's when it goes to a 9. And I reserve 10 for when I'm dying, which hasn't happened yet. Praise the Lord. This was an 8. I'm pretty sure, pretty much on an 8 level, maybe even 8.3, 8.5. But anyway, it went down and has continued to drop down. I'm now at a constant 3 with spikes upwards to 6 or 7. But anyway, you probably don't care very much about that. You might care about the topic that I chose today. So on my birthday, which was yesterday, I had a 3-hour and 10-minute conversation avec ma père. That is not, I don't think that's proper grammar. Votre, notre, I don't know. I can't remember. But anyway, with my dad, 3 hours and 10 minutes, which usually, if my father and I have a good conversation, it winds up being 45 minutes to an hour and a half. If it rolls into the 2+ range, then it's not the best. So basically, a large portion of my day was spent handling a situation. And for those of you with a little bit of lingo knowledge in the psychology realm, I'm gonna give you a word, and then we're going to talk about this concept and what you can do if you find yourself in a similar circumstance. Bro, fine, fine. So I'm just cranking it in. I'm locked in at 70. You all can chill. Chill. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get over, and everybody else can just do whatever they want to do. Not my problem. All right. So here's the fancy psychobabble word, psychology word. It's called triangulation. Triangulation. All right. So I'm going to give you that word, and then I'm going to tell you. Check. Hey, thanks for the thumbs, everybody. Numbers 3, 4, and 5. Appreciate you. All right, this word triangulation. It's exactly what it sounds like, a triangle. Well, what's a triangle? All right, 1, 2, 3. 3 people. Whereas a relationship is supposed to be between uno and dos, 1 and 2. A two-way relationship. When you introduce a third, but the third party is always not present. I'm not getting into like a conversation here about polygamy or roommate situation or any of that. What I'm referring to is specifically almost always in familial relationships, and you see it most often like this: husband, wife, child, or husband, wife, parent. That could be the overbearing mother-in-law, or in some cases, it could be the father, father-in-law, whatever. So in this case, triangulation has happened in my life between myself, both of my parents, and my sister, who I have talked about before and indicated and informed you guys that my sister's a proud SJW, and utilizes the Bible to support Gomorrah thinking, such as the advocation of the murder of babies. And here's the interesting thing. I don't have to go into all the details, but I'll give you some of the details just so you have a little bit of context to think about, and then you can think about it and apply it to your own life. Because that's the purpose of this video. It's not to whine and complain, but rather to provide strategic techniques to handle difficult situations and to save your marriage. So I'm going to use a word that I'm not really I'm not really fond of it. Okay, I'm really not fond of this word, but this is the command that I'm giving to you. And even if you're a woman, same thing. Same thing. Don't be a metaphorical or figurative cuck. Don't do it. Okay? Stand your ground. And here's why. Here's why. So you have a relationship that you value. Okay? And if you have a relationship, then you should, that you value, then you need to value the relationship and act like you value it. And behave as though you value it. That goes with God or people. So, just checking things out. Welcome. Welcome. Wrenches, welcome all. It's like we have 9. Welcome all. We're talking about the topic of triangulation, friends. If you don't know what it means, look it up. But I pretty much already explained. When there is an extra party that is unseen at a given time. Yes, I'm giving a layman's paraphrased way of understanding this term. Also, if I cringe or make any loud bursts of noise, it's because my back is not broken, I hope, but it's a situation. But anyway, okay, so again, I explained triangulation as a father or a husband and a wife and their child. That could be a triangulation situation. It could be a husband and a wife and the wife's female friend, like just a best friend for life kind of person. That person could triangulate in the relationship. It could be a sibling. It could be a husband, wife, and parent. And in my case, it's my relationship with my parents collectively or individually, whichever way you want to look at it, and each other. Sometimes there's a triangulation that happens there, but even more so, my sister is the triangulated party that is used as an instigation of conflict due to what my parents desire from me in relation to my sister, in the relationship that they desire for me to have with my sister, even though she's a social justice warrior. And I say things like, what fellowship has the darkness with the light? And they're grossly offended. Here's the thing. I'll give you a little context. I mean, 15 years of trying to not really poke any hives, speak the truth. Hey, this is what I believe. Hey, this is what I believe. Hey, this is what I believe. And instigation and what's the word for just relentless attack, unprompted and relentless attacking. So my sister attacks my wife on the regular on Facebook, making fun of Christianity, making fun of the Bible, using the Bible out of context to justify or make it say things that it absolutely doesn't, to justify sodomy, to justify fornication, to justify adultery, and then my wife says something. I'm just giving you the whole context. My wife says something to my sister on Facebook to the effect of, hey, by the way, when you say that you're praying for us, because this is one of the things that my sister says that she's doing, my wife asked, I don't know who you're praying to. One of the most tragic things in life is when, this is still quoting my wife, one of the most tragic things in life is when somebody thinks they're going to heaven, but they aren't. I hope that you continue to study and learn and seek God. Something along those lines. Paraphrased, that's the gist, okay? She didn't directly say that anybody was going to hell, but I was then having to go through this situation for 3 hours with my father. I'm giving this whole context because I know that you guys have been through similar situations where you've been in the monkey in the middle, so to speak. Okay? And I know monkey's not the most popular animal. It's probably one of the most controversial of all the animals if you had to think about it. But anyway, we'll move on. We'll try not to go down any rabbit holes. But I know you've been stuck in these situations where you're like, I don't want to be here. This is not the conversation I want to be having. And stop. But you can't just say stop or you get trapped or whatever. I'll get to some of the solutions, guys. I'll get to some of the solutions. But I gave you some of the premises, which is stand your ground. Okay? But in humility and that means humbleness, okay? And stand your ground on the truth. On the truth. Not just your opinion about something, but something that you know you would die for. That you know you would actually die for. Don't stand your ground on the molehills, right? A little bump in the ground. Okay? Like the carpet color. No, don't die on those. Obviously. It should be obvious. Die on the hills of truth. The rock. So anyway. It was actually a very loving and good thing that my wife said. And I stand behind it 100%. And here's the thing. Sometimes, even the ones you love will say that they get it. Will say that they think that they know the truth, or think that they're even Christians. Use the word and say, yeah, I know that Jesus died for me and died for my sins and all that. But they'll say enough other things that make you go, that something's not adding up here. Now, does that mean that you just say, oh, well, you don't believe the way I believe, and I know that you're going to hell because of that? Well, no, not at all. That's not how it's done. Here's the stance I took, and I'll continue to pursue in the most loving manner I possibly can to continue to speak truth and do so in as loving way as I possibly can. But I said, when somebody claims Jesus, claims they are a Christian, and they say something that is the literal opposite of what Scripture says, and they take Scripture out of context, I will correct them. I will tell them that they are wrong. And if they keep on pushing, and they try to say that sin is good, it's not going to work out. I will stand against that. And I definitely won't have fellowship with that. It's very different to put yourself in a situation amongst the tax collectors. Okay? To hang out with the tax collectors. They're tax collectors. Metaphor, guys, metaphor. That's what they are. And why are you hanging out with them? So that they'll just continue to do the same old thing? No. It's not. Jesus didn't hang out with the guys to tell them, oh, you're fine. You're perfectly fine. You're doing everything just right. Not at all. Jesus hung out with those guys to prove that he was accessible. Very interesting. There's obviously a whole lot more metaphors that can be drawn from that. There's a whole lot more, oh yeah, just cut me off, just scrape the front of my vehicle. That'll be fine. It'll be just fine. We hire you to retire you. Is that how you want to retire? Is by jackknifing on the highway? I mean, come on, guys. Come on. Not that my pilot would make him jackknife. He would mess my day up. he'd be fine, I'm sure. All right. Anyway, we'll get undistracted. So you've more than likely been in a situation where you are hearing somebody say, well, Susie was saying that you said that blah, blah, blah. Okay, stop talking right now. Just put your foot down. Say, excuse me. I'll talk to Susie about that. Do you have anything to say to me directly? Something about you? Because here's the thing. Don't fall in the trap. Don't fall in the trap. And I don't have any family members named Susie. Well, not Susie, at least. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Don't fall in the trap. Well, you know, I can't believe what you did to blah, blah, blah family member or person or other person in the relationship. Okay. And then, like, the other example that I gave, like husband, wife, and then wife's best friend kind of situation. If that best friend is constantly criticizing you and trash talking you and all these things, then you need to have a serious conversation with the spouse. Hey, I don't think that's right. Something needs to change. Have that hard conversation. It's important. But simply put, don't take the bait. Don't take the bait. If you notice that the person you're speaking with, that you're trying to have a conversation with and potentially develop the relationship, if they bring up another person, not just, hey, I went to dinner with this other person, and it was really cool. Oh, great, that's awesome. That's not triangulation, friends. Triangulation is when this other person is being brought up to you about you. That's called triangulation, or gossip. And you're being brought into a gossip ring, and then you're a partaker in the triangulation thing. Anyway, I know I'm not getting this in a didactic, perfectly organized manner in this little conversation, because it's a ride home, trying to stay alive and trying to get details, enough of the details together for context and understanding. But here's the thing: know the things that you'll stand for and speak on behalf of without fail, such as the truth. And I'm not talking about like it was 7 bottles. No, it was 9 bottles. No, it was 7. I'm not talking about nonsense, stupid, meaningless arguments. That's not what I'm referring to. I'm talking about the truths of God, guys. The truths of God. It's very important that you stand on the side of truth. Otherwise, you're pretty much a sellout, and I don't know. It doesn't seem very healthy in regards to your relationship with God if you abandon, if you deny Him, basically. You're like, oh, I don't know. I don't know what the truth is. I mean, it might be okay to kill people. I don't know. I mean, it is one of the 10 commandments, but I mean, who am I to say? Who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? You're not. That's I don't know if that's a red herring per se, but it's something. It's one of those fallacies that I can't remember right this minute. When somebody says, well, I mean, you can't say that abortion is, who are you? You can't say anything about abortion. Who are you to judge? You don't know somebody's life. You know what the truth is. And you can stand with the truth regardless of circumstances. Because truth, real truth, absolute truth, doesn't change based on circumstances. It doesn't. So, there has to be a foot coming down on the earth. You have to put the foot down and you have to say, listen, I have love for you. And because I love you, especially if it's somebody that, you it's part of your life, it's not good to just write people off. Say, listen, I do love you, care about your life, care about your soul. And because of that, I will continue to speak the truth to you. If you're not willing to accept it, that's between you and God. It's really hard to do these things. It's really hard to say these things when it's somebody that, especially when it's somebody that raised you, that feels responsible, whether right or wrong. They feel responsible for who you are. They think that they contributed to who you are. It just so happens that it's hard. I imagine. I don't actually know yet, really. Even though I have 3 children, I don't really know yet just how hard it is to acknowledge the work of God and to reject and or to put aside any feelings of accomplishment in who your children become. Because here's the thing. If your child grows up to be somebody that truly loves God, serves God well, if you point to yourself, look at what I did. I did that. I raised that. That is all me. I raised that kid to be just like that, and they are like that because of me. Well, even if you subconsciously think that, I think that that's very dangerous ground. I'm not saying, however, that that's easy to truly acknowledge that even if you did your best as a parent, it was still God that helped that child. Otherwise, you have a lot of explaining to do for the reverse that happens when you did your best and your child becomes a Gamoran or an SJW or both. See, you can't take credit. It's not logically consistent. Anyway, look at the fly, except you need to pull your pants up. He was looking pretty cool. His pants were 74 inches too low. Okay, not 74, about 35 inches too low. When your belt is at your knees and you have to do the penguin walk, it's too low. It's too low. Anyway. All right, what's going on? We got 6 people. We had 9. I scared people away. Appeal to authority fallacy. Give me a second. I remember that one. Give me a second. I'm thinking about it. Appeal to authority. Well, now I've lost it. Now I've lost my example. I think you're exactly right, though. For some reason, I've completely forgotten the example that I was discussing, but I think you're exactly right. I've read that list, tried to memorize the list of all the different logical fallacies. The list is actually really long, and I think that the list is a dynamic list. I think that there's not a set number of logical fallacies. And that sometimes they even make up new ones just to, those numbers are bouncing up and down. It's pretty wild. But welcome, new and old. Welcome to all. And yeah, thank you. Appeal to authority. I think you're spot on with that. So anyway, here's my advice. Stand on the truth. Don't back down, and don't fall into traps. Well, how do I know? I'm trying to teach you one. One of the biggest traps in marital relationships, especially, but even in the child-parent relationship between the child and the mother and the father, that can be a triangulated situation. And the thing about triangulation is it is actually typically 3. There's not usually a situation where it's 5 different people that are all intertriangulated or whatever. That's not actually how it normally works. It usually is 3. And I know that mother, father, son, and sister sounds like 4, but that's why I'm referring to my parents collectively, and or 1, 2, 3, and another set of 1, 2, 3 with the common denominator of the of 2. Anyway, you guys probably get it. I'm imagining you're probably going to get it. So identifying triangulation is a good place to start. One day we'll talk about money and that whole thing. But because money can be potentially a triangulation as well. This relationship between a husband and wife and their relationship with money can be this pink elephant or whatever, white elephant. I think that's the proper phrase. Trying not to twist my lower back. So the law of God and the goodness of the law of God, I'm willing to stand on the truth of that. How the gospel, how one is saved, not by works, so that no one may boast. That's another hill I will die on. It is, absolutely. And I will correct someone every day of the week. Don't care who they are. Don't care how well I know them. If it's extremely well, as in blood, or a stranger that somehow we wind up in a conversation, I will correct them immediately, because I feel like there's nothing more important to understand correctly than how to be saved. The gospel, nothing more important. So that's a hill I would die on. It's one I will correct, so on and so on. All right, what have we got here? I think it's about $2.80. $2.80. I usually get about 17 gallons. Why does he always tell us how much his gasoline costs? Interesting, Goose Bear. Absolutely, Froze Moments. But it's because you love God that you would say such a thing. Arrogance, pride, and a works-based mentality is for the birds. And I don't mean that in a good way at all. Yeah, Goose Bear, sexual morality and all that. And that's why it's worth advocating abstinence. It's within your power. Abstinence works. In fact, that might be another. I think I'm going to just start making t-shirts, guys. Obviously, we're going to do the Farm Unity one, but I think I'm going to do other t-shirts too. I know Owen Benjamin is doing a bunch of shirts, and I won't overlap anything that he's doing. But he's not going to do that one. Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe he would. And if he does, fine, whatever. But I'm just thinking, that's a good one too. Abstinence works. Maybe it could be better. I don't know. It's thought-provoking. I like catchy little thought-provoking things. All right, y'all wait for me. I'm going to go ahead and put gasoline in my car and see if I don't cry getting out. Oh, not too bad yet. Oh, that's fun. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Oh, that's not fun. All right. I'll read some comments. I'll keep my foot on the ground. I can't do that. I can't reach. Somebody once told me that I would get in trouble for entering the vehicle again. I don't know what Hawaii is. Glad to hear that, John. Again, that's really tough. All right, no more comments? That's it? All right, give me just a second. Yeah. Yeah. All righty. I became an old man, guys. Sorry. Oh, it's not quite an 8. More like a 7, 6 or a 7. It's all fine. It just tickles. It just tickles a little bit in my spine. Whoa. All right. It just tickles a little bit as if my spine is out of a line. Oh man, I forgot to write my lyrics down. Oh, that's such a good idea. I've been continuing to write down my rap lyrics. That's such a good idea. It's all good. Should I not hope for 500? Is it bad? I mean, I think that 500 could happen. So I just want to act as if and prepare. I want to be ready with that epic rap song, guys. All right, so let's see if I can summarize some of what I was talking about. The orthodoxy. There's certain things that are just uncompromisable. Those are known as the orthodoxy of the faith. I know that there are different orthodoxies, but anyway, that's a tangent. We can talk about that at another time. So this episode is mainly about avoiding triangulation. How do you avoid it? By first recognizing it. And you recognize it by when you're having a conversation with somebody and they bring up you through another person. You instantly, that's the cue. If somebody starts talking to you about you through another person, as in they said, Johnny said, you say, no, stop right there. I'm not interested. I'll talk to Johnny about that. And Johnny can talk to me about that. I'm not going to talk about what Johnny thinks with you. Now, when you're all in the same room, you're very, very trying. There can be carryover in person, but typically, in regards to how I'm referring to it and everything, I'm referring to the behind the back stuff. Okay, and then when somebody comes to you and they talk to you about you based on something somebody else said, there's your cue. What do? You shut it down. Shut it down. Shut it down. Sorry, not happening. Not entertaining this conversation. You say with love, it's unloving to you, and it's unloving to the other person for me to engage in this. That's my advice to you in the most generic and simple way. Maybe you already knew that really, really well. Congratulations to your extreme maturity, because not most, but there are literally millions of people, typically in abusive relationships or here's what it's called, dependent and codependent relationships. There's typically a triangulating party. Sometimes, like I said earlier, it could be money. The third party could be drugs. It could be, or alcohol, or whatever. But triangulation is typically another person. Anyway, I think you all get it. It's not extremely complicated, but very many people fall into the trap over and over and over again. Have I fallen into the trap? Yep. Have I taken the bait? Yep. Why do I do that? Too much confidence. Too much confidence. Like, I can handle it. You're not meant to. You're not meant to. It's a losing battle. It's a losing battle. Just is. By nature of design, it's a losing battle. It's not how relationships were meant to be designed. Except in regard. Well, here's why, though. It's because that third party needs to be God. Because of his perfection, it works. But when the third party is a created being, it doesn't work. Sin distorts it all. It's hard enough for us to have a productive, meaningful, beneficial, and even holy relationship between two people. It's hard enough. Do you think it would get easier if you introduce a third person into that? Come on now. Be realistic. So anyway, I hope that's actually helpful for you. Now I'm going to spend the next 97 minutes talking about, I'm kidding. Not even going to say it. Not even going to say it. I'm not going to be sarcastic about myself. I'm working on some things, guys. Really am. Trying to work on some stuff. Hello, Johnny. Here's Johnny. Yeah, the comments just disappeared at one point. It's kind of interesting. Lots and lots of comments, and then anyway. Well, thank you for all the thumbs up. Appreciate that. There's been a lot of attackers, a lot of people seeking me out, trying to just attack and stuff. Kind of frustrating, kind of annoying. It's okay, because what it does is it helps me hone in and go, why am I doing this? Okay, I'm going to keep doing this because I know why I'm doing it, and it's to become rich and famous. Okay. Why do YouTube except for any other reason? Oh, there's more of that sarcasm. There's more of that sarcasm. Now, obviously, it's not to become rich and famous. It should be obvious. It should be. It really should. I don't do any video editing. Almost 100% exclusively live streams. Come on now. I mean, if my IQ was 73, it would make sense that I would think that I was but it's double that, guys. So I definitely want to do things for a purpose, with a purpose that's good. Teaching and leading. So read your Bible, and we'll read it together. That's right, Frozen Moments. People get really offended, but guess what happens? They have to deal with the conviction, especially if they're a Christian and they're just caught in sin. They'll be convicted. They'll be like, oh man, I was wrong. And then hopefully to God, they'll apologize later on. Have gone FBR. Full-blown retarded. Yeah. It's okay. You don't have to explain it. I'm guessing you meant better. It's all good. Yeah, my back will get better. Yeah, I got you. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, and I will see you all later. Potentially tonight. It depends. But yeah, read your Bible. That's the most important.